So you said, you know what I mean, it's been spiritual. So church is in the, you know, like the mind and what we created, you can have it anywhere. You know what I mean? The spiritual experience you can have with nature. What's something you learned, you know what I'm saying, like about yourself?
Yeah.
You know, while being out here, you know, experiencing this.
I think the greatest thing for me too, growing up, I had a lot of different experiences. My grandparents were Christian. My father's side of my family grew up in the Nation of Islam. And also my godparents were Buddhists. So growing up, I never went to a traditional church or a mosque. My mom gave me the opportunity to find my spirituality within nature. So just coming back to the soil, it's just like me coming back at home.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of times I get out here at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, especially in the summer times, and I'm able to meditate, talk to the plants. You know what I mean? Because the way you treat your plants is subconsciously the way you treat yourself. Right? So if I neglect them, they won't grow. Right? If I treat them wrong, then I won't be able to feed my community. Right? So even though I might be tired or I might be not in the right mind state to come out here and do what I got to do, I know that the purpose is always bigger than me. So that gives me a fuel and feeds my soul to keep doing this each and every day and to wake up and just put that work in.
I dig, man.
Yes, sir.
We were just kind of, you know, having a brief discussion about like ancestry, you know, a little bit, you know, so and you said, you know, you got into this because you saw a picture of your grandmother.
Yes, sir.
You know, in the garden, you know what I mean? So like, you know, that to me, like I always encourage people, like, we trying to dig far back, you know what I'm saying, right? But like you can dig as far back or as near back as your grandmother,
Right.
you know what I mean, to experience you. So like, what was that, you know what I mean, when you saw that picture and like, how old were you? What moment of your life were you in and how did that transition your life?
True indeed. So my grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's disease in 2013. So personally, I went through about 3 years of tough depression. You know what I mean? Being 8 hours away from school, being at A&T. But I made her a promise that I was going to do the best that I could in school. So I ended up still graduating at the top of my class, but I was going through depression because I know what I was learning wasn't serving me. So a year after I graduated school, I went home for December 25th, and that's when I found a picture of her in the garden. And instantly, I connected with that picture, and I knew that's what I was going to have to do. Even though I have no background experience, even though I would neglect her when she was in the garden previously, I knew that we had to get back to our roots. And I also started reading Baba Shekham's Medu Netzer, and I was learning about Asar and Aset. The original laws of the land was they was farmers, right? So I had tapped into that about 3 months prior, and then I had found her picture, and I felt like that was confirmation to tap back into my spiritual roots.
You have conversations with her when you out here like this? Is this something that connect y'all?
Always, brother, always. The day after she passed away, my mom has an apartment in Philadelphia, and a red cardinal had flew up on my air conditioner when I was resting. And I took that as heed as that was my, you know, my spiritual guide. That was her coming back, telling me everything would be okay. So especially in the summer times or early spring, there's a lot of red cardinals out here. So even when I'm just walking around, I'm in here in the garden, they sometimes come and sit up on the gate. So I know she out here rocking with me.
That's love. I dig that. Spiritual experience. I'm doing my writing workshop right now, and you know our whole thing. Like last month was self-care September. This month we talking about change and transition. You know, and how sometimes people neglect nature.
Right.
You know, during the colder seasons because they feel like they shouldn't be outside, and that's a whole nother time to tap in. Do you continue this, you know, as the weather begins to shift, you know, as it turns into fall and winter? You still out here?
Yeah, so the thing with that is interesting. So North Carolina has a 10-month growing season. So about the middle of December, everything starts to wither away. That's when you start to get your last bit of collards and everything like that. But tapping into the futuristic knowledge, that's actually why I got into aeroponics and hydroponics.
Okay.
Because I knew that people were going to have to eat all year round, right? So even if it gets extremely cold outside, it's 20 degrees outside, we don't have a greenhouse out here yet, but it's in the process. I'm getting a grant written up. We was going to have to do something to still mass produce food, even when it's freezing, even when it's snowing. So that's what led me to tap in about a year and a half ago into the whole hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponics thing. So I can still connect with nature, but I can bring a new flavor, growing food inside and growing food outside simultaneously.
I dig it.
Yes, sir.
I dig it. Yeah, that's all I got for now.
Okay, I got you. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that, Kings.
For sure, for sure.
Peace, power, love to the family.
Yes, sir. It's a different vibe over here. You already know. Heavy energy.